hear an ancient voice whispering from the void, and it chills my lightless heart.
G'day guys, Duckville here. We're going to continue this little butterfly effect replay pack, and this second game is actually going to be against another very high level player. Of course, as we mentioned in game one, these replays just went up this morning, I believe, so these are pretty new, pretty fresh, so hopefully these ones are just a little insight into how some of these higher level guys play. And as we can see here on Lost Temple, we've got Butterfly up here at the 12 o'clock position, and over here is his opponent MVP, of course the GSL champion from just last season past, season 4. So Butterfly unfortunately coming up against another immaculate player in the StarCraft scene, of course, and MVP being the Terran champion for season 4. Before we had MC, the season 3 champion, as the probably the best Protoss in the world, so this is going to be quite an interesting challenge for Butterfly to come up against. So we see here that, as mentioned before, the map is Lost Temple, of course, and as we have MVP on this side, not really favouring either of these players. If it was perhaps a little bit the other way around, it would have been something a bit different to see, perhaps like some drops on the cliff, of course, that sort of thing, which, as we mentioned, sort of doesn't really favour either player anyway, of course, because this is a mirror matchup. But we'll see if either of these guys pull out something interesting. So just a little background, of course. Butterfly is not in Code A for Season 5 of the GSL, as far as I understand. He's certainly a good player. He just sort of struggles sometimes with his... it seems as if it's a bit of a macro problem sometimes. He actually struggles just a little bit with making sure his economy is on top of where it should be. So that may be part of why he hasn't really done too many fancy things in the GSL recently. So we'll see if he can pull something out here against MVP. We have seen some players of what may be considered a lower caliber do quite well against MVP. So we'll see if Butterfly can do something himself. Now, of course, MVP being pretty much the best player in the world, whether it be Terran, Protoss or Zerg. He's a fantastic player, has great macro, has great micro, and great decision making, and so he's just probably the best in the world, and has been doing so for quite a while now, and it's quite surprising that he's only won his first GSL now, just now in Season 4. So but other than that, we'll see what's happening. We've got MVP currently sitting on just a bit higher in his income. He's actually just on 760 for his mineral income, which is a little bit higher than Butterfly, but of course I believe that's just because of the positioning of the mules, and perhaps Butterfly got a bad mule placement or something like that. But we do have a difference in the tech paths already. We have a Reaper coming out from Butterfly. He's obviously going to scout out with that one and just see what's happening inside the base of MVP, because he didn't get to before because his SCV got killed off on the ramp by one of MVP's Marines, but we'll see what happens. We got and as we can see from MVP, we actually have a command center going straight down at the natural base there. He's got just the one Rax here, so he's not really going too heavy on the defense just for the moment, and as I say, of course, to make sure he can defend, he's got a bunker here just in case something interesting comes along from Butterfly. So we do have a I think that Reaper may have been spotted by MVP. Interesting, because he's moved his Marines back, and that may have actually been spotted by this scouting SCV, which is quite interesting and really great tactic from MVP, of course. But nevertheless, he runs back to his bunker here. He's going to sit here and just make sure this natural is defended adequately. The orbital now going down on this command center here as well. Looks as if we actually have 2 Reapers here for Butterfly. Interesting to see 2 of them. Some of the times you'll of course get the one for scouting purposes and trying to harass and put some damage on these SCVs, but as we said, he's picked off that SCV there, which is a brilliant little move. He's going to be moving in here with 2. He's done a great job so far. Nice little bit of micro. Where are those Marines? Here they are. MVP finally bringing these guys in. Picks off the mule, which is a huge win for Butterfly, and has obviously picked off a few probes here. This that Reaper falling to his death there with 5 kills in total. But as you can see, MVP now with 2 orbital commands, so he's certainly got a lot of power in his economy, which is going to be backed up shortly, we would assume, by a few more racks. we do have, oh no, he's got that factory, that's right, the factory that got its worker SCV assassinated, and it looks as if, no, MVP is going to move straight to a starport. So we'll see what happens here for MVP, and as you can see, Cloak is on the way for Butterfly Effect. He's got one Banshee on the way already. He's probably going to grab a second one. It does take around about 2 Banshees for Cloak to actually finish. So if you have the money, if you have the gas, you can actually just pull 2 Banshees out and then get them in and get them cloaked and start harassing. But I would assume it's not really going to do too much because, of course, MVP has the 2 orbital commands, so he certainly will have at least 1 scan available to use. And as you can see, if we have a look at what he's scouted in the base here, he knows that there is a factory and a starport in here, so he's probably going to be suspecting some kind of Banshee attack, and here it comes indeed. We got 1 Marine getting picked off already, but this Banshee's going to need a lot of great control because there are a lot of Marines here, and as you can see, having a little battle here with this Banshee, but the Banshee does get picked off. No, it doesn't. Marines just unfortunately out of range of the Banshee there. He's going to need to bring this one home and get it repaired because that's currently sitting on 8 HP. So that is not in a great state. That Banshee pilot's going to want some repairs going down at the mechanic shop for that one. But we've got Tank, Hellion, a Marine, and that's about it out for Butterfly. Of course, he does have 2 more Reapers, interestingly, down here at the Zelnaga Watchtower, just keeping guard of that tower. A turret going up, along with, I would assume, another one here. Indeed it is. So MVP more than prepared for that Banshee attack, wards that away quite easily, and of course he's now going to have to deal with these Cloak Banshees because Cloak is now done. It's just 1 Banshee for the moment. It'll be interesting to see if MVP scans this. Indeed he does. He actually moves the scan in there, takes it out beautifully. Meanwhile, just down in the back here, 1 Reaper coming in. It does actually have Reaper speed from what I can see, and he's actually going to do a lot of damage here. He's picked off a couple of those SCVs, but unfortunately gets a bit close to that bunker and gets picked off himself. So Butterfly now sort of sitting with this interesting mixture of his units. He's got 1 Banshee left over. He's got a couple of Marines, a tank, and a Hellion. So he's sort of not in the best position, I would say, because he's certainly down a lot on his income. He's going to need to do something with these harassing forces. That's pretty much what he's been relying on, is these the Banshees and the Reapers to do a lot of damage. And as we can see, this 1 Banshee coming in here, trying to scout out what's happening, trying to find where MVP's forces are, but little does he know that approaching from the center, we actually have MVP moving in here with some tanks, with some Marines, and this is going to be a deadly force to fight against, I would think. The Marines evacuate the bunker. They know they're in trouble if they stay inside there, but it looks as if he's not really going to push in too far because he knows that that Butterfly does have these few units himself, of course, but the Cloak Banshee is still inside doing a lot of damage. It's picked off some SCVs, I think we saw before. It's going to try and pick off some more holding position there over that supply depot. Meanwhile, over here we have a huge battle at the main base here. Butterfly is probably going to lose this one quite easily because he's way out of position there with his Marines stuck there. And it looks as if MVP is going to move in. He's going to try and take out what he can. I believe is Siege Tech on the way. Indeed it is. It's not going to be done in time to lay a great contain for the moment, but it's certainly going to be there shortly. And it looks as if Butterfly has brought down his SCVs. He's going to try and surround. A tank pops out. Unfortunately, time for the tank. It does not get any shots off onto this attacking force of MVP, and 1 tank gets saved. No, it doesn't. Saying no to that medevac, and it gets picked off there. So we're still in a terrible position for Butterfly. He is down to 15 SCVs against the 37 SCVs of MVP. Once again, as mentioned before, in Game 1, I think we saw that Butterfly was just sort of suffering a little bit on his macro, and now, of course, obviously due to that attack, but still due to perhaps the harass he attempted to pull off, which was in no way successful at all. He is now way behind in economy, and it is going to be a massive uphill battle. He's going to need a bike to ride on. Perhaps he's going to need a chairlift or something like that, because this is going to be a huge hill to get up for Butterfly. But we'll see if he can pull something out. He's got 3 racks here. He's got the starport, of course, and the factory. He's going to be able to pull out some units if he can. It looks as if he's going for another drop. I'm not sure if this is the greatest idea. He will certainly get some damage in, but I'm still not sure if it's the best idea to actually do that. MVP, meanwhile, moving in here to the cliff position, is not really going to do too much with those Vikings, but meanwhile, just at the back here, it looks as if Butterfly has not had enough with these supply depots. He's going to take one down. Comes in here, tries to pick off the turret. Certainly not going to get in there in time. In fact, this medevac goes down. So MVP, another anti-harass victory there for MVP. And as we can see, these Vikings standing guard here like gargoyles, just sitting up here on this cliff, making sure that these units do not actually get too much mining done. The mule getting shot at there, his little gold body getting scraped up there. But we do see some Marines come in. They're going to pick off these Vikings quite quickly there. We do have stim. We've got some siege tanks. We've got the combat shields, of course, and none of that is actually, or apart from stim, is actually done for MVP. But I'll tell you what is done. A third base is on the way, so that is going to be done shortly. He's going to start up the gold expansion and be in an absolutely huge position. Now, as we can see, sensor turrets going up from both of these players in essentially the mirrored sort of positions here. MVP putting up one here, and it looks as if Butterfly is going to have his here in a second as well. So both of these guys are going to know pretty much exactly what is going on in each of their bases, although from the looks of it, Butterfly has got the sort of the bad end of the bargain here, but he doesn't really see too much of this expansion. He knows that a few things are there, but we'll see what happens. We do have a little bit of engagement in the middle of Banshee, or a medevac, I'm not sure what that was just being picked off there by some Marines. Yeah, we do have Butterfly in a siege position though, so it's not going to be as easy for MVP to move in there and take out that position, but he certainly will have the economy to do so shortly. Not to mention the upgrades. If we have a quick look, we do have +1 upgrades for MVP on the way, so he's going to have his infantry doing a nice lot of damage in a moment. But it looks as if we do have a drop coming in here from MVP. He's going to try and get some harass off inside the main base and try and pull those siege tanks back, and it has indeed worked. The tech lab is going to be going down in a second. There it goes, and it looks as if he's going to try and pick off this reactor as well. Reactor's costing a lot and taking a lot of time to get all produced and ready to roll, so that's quite a big hit for Butterfly. Of course, he's doing his own counterattack here. He moves into the main base. Siege tank is up there and ready at the main base of MVP, but it looks as if one Rax has been picked off. This has turned into a bit of a siege battle here for these two players, but it looks as if MVP, with his hugely superior economy, is going to come out on top of this one. So we do see MVP winning that battle. He's certainly still got a huge amount of units. If we have a look at the units tab, he's got his 6 tanks and 40 Marines to the meager 5 and 18 of Butterflies. So we would probably expect to see some sort of, perhaps some sort of sieged contain, I would suspect, on Butterfly's base. I'm not really sure. We do have, that's interesting, we got a stim on that one Marine, just scouting out what's happening around here. Gets healed up quite quickly, of course, because we do have these 4 medevacs here. But if we have a look down here, this is now turning into an orbital. Is going to be ready to roll in just a second, and MVP's income is already spiking way ahead of Butterfly. Of course, he's currently sitting at 1,500 for his income. Meanwhile, Butterfly is still stuck down there at a lowly 1,200 income. So we're going to see probably some sort of push in just a moment. I'm not sure. It looks as if we're going to have a drop attack here from MVP. He's going to drop something on the cliff, I would suspect. A couple of siege tanks sitting out here in the main area, just making sure that he doesn't come out the front. But it looks as if Butterfly has cleverly come out the side there, using the medevacs to drop out some Marines in the main arena there for his attack on MVP's base, which we may see 4 siege tanks going up here, 5 siege tanks in fact. And it looks as if the counter once again is we're going to see Butterfly just attacking straight into this gold. He's going to take out this orbital, and probably these Marines may go down if they're not very careful. They're going to need to jump into that medevac, but it looks as if it's all becoming too late for Butterfly. He's going to lose all of these units. He's lost his natural. We do have 2 command centers sort of just floating here, waiting for something to happen. And oh wow, beautiful sense there by MVP, seeing that Banshee, seeing a cloak, and coming in there to take that out with his Marines. And it looks as if this command center is going to go down, and no trouble at all. Meanwhile, I'm sort of expecting these units to sort of start marching in the front there. But, oh, okay, that's why they're not doing it. There are 6 siege tanks hanging out here at the front, just making sure things are all cool at the front of the base. But, of course, as we mentioned before, when we had a look at the income tab, we have MVP in a huge lead. So, once again, for Butterfly, his macro is sort of just becoming a bit of a detriment there. And he's going to be suffering because of it. As we can see here, we got some siege tanks getting in position here to attack at this fortified position here for MVP. We do get the Banshee still off the side, just taking some shots. The tank then able to actually take some shots at the Marines. Meanwhile, MVP attempting to counter here by bringing in the Marines down to the low ground, but they're not going to make it. But we can see that he is now in a great position. We can see that he does have vision. This tank's going to go down quite easily. Scans going down all over the place. We do have Marines moving in here, picking off those tanks. They are going to pick off these extra Marines as well. But if we have a look back here at this position, MVP's macro is absolutely off the hook. He's had enough. He's going to go in for this position, going for the main base, and going to try and contain it as best as he can. Moving in, taking out all of those siege tanks that were up on the ramp, on the ridge there. And now it looks as if he's just going to try and drop inside the main with a whole heap of Marines. An absolute plethora of Marines are being dropped in here. Stim going off. They're going to pick off this factory. Factory goes down, and that is essentially going to be it. MVP is now essentially the winner of this game if he doesn't get the GG shortly. Butterfly trying to counter with what he can, bringing in some extra siege tanks and some SCVs, but it's just no way enough. Supporting units coming up there from MVP, doing a great job with his micro, as we mentioned before. Not to mention his macro, check out this, he's got the gold up again, he's got a lot of units here for reinforcements, and he's already winning. And the mana mule goes down just as well to make sure he signifies that the game is over, and we get the 1G there from Butterfly, so that is the game over. MVP displaying once again his amazing macro and his decision making as well, deciding to take this ridge here and hold that for the moment, denying the expansion here for Butterfly Effect. So great play there by MVP. We're going to have one more replay coming through in this little fun little replay pack from Butterfly Effect. I'm sorry, Butterfly, if you're going to watch these, because these are the ones you posted, so it's not really my fault. But we'll see you guys in the next one. Make sure you leave some comments, subscribe, of course, and let me know what other stuff you want to see, or send it through yourself. Cheers.